Come on. You got the appropriate ribs, but you got the sternum and the manubrium chilling right there. They're separate pieces. Oh, nice. I like the using the element. We got to discuss the legs in a second. Oh my gosh. Hey, Jordan Wagner here, board certified ER doctor. Today we're gonna check out some fatalities from Mortal Kombat 11. I've checked out the fatal blows that we've done in the past, but I'm super excited to see these because I've heard they're even crazier and more gruesome. Okay, let's check it out. Oh! I love Mortal Kombat and the extremes of injuries. I like the initial move, breaking the elbow, basically you're hyperextending it the other direction, and then it's going to be an open or compound fracture. It's going to totally incapacitate that arm. Haven't seen it in UFC, but definitely seen it in the video games. The intestines are just chilling out. So those small squiggly things, that is basically the small intestines. Obviously you're not going to see any poop coming out. Nobody would want to watch that, but you're seeing blood around it, and then just getting demolished by this electronic device. Oof. Oof. Does this guy have the hardest skull in the world? Yeah, he does. Nice. I say nice because it's a video game. Skull on skull, you see people headbutt each other all the time in fights. So your front part of your skull, it's the most dense, it's pretty thick. You do have a pocket in the front where your frontal sinus, where it's actually a gap with air in it. The amount of blood shooting out after it's destroyed is a little far-fetched, but you do have blood in there, it's gonna squirt out, and you're gonna have skull fractures, and the brain fragments are probably just gonna kind of spew out everywhere. Ooh. Oh, what a sick move. That is awesome. Okay. That is amazing. Oh. This is definitely going to be one of my favorites. All right. Good depiction of the vertebrae I'm impressed at, because you can see you have the spinal column. It's actually broken up into sections. So you can have like your intervertebral discs. And then on the sides, you got the wings. Those wings are basically all the spinous processes and the different anatomy spinous process on the back. The likelihood that you can actually snap all that out is pretty far-fetched. Everything's kind of protected in, right? So you got your clavicles, you got the first ribs that kind of come around like this, but it's actually really cool. You actually see the ribs split open to allow all that to come out. It's pretty impressive. Oh! Oh! Yes! Throw some baseball into it. Maybe the rock, maybe the mountain can obviously pull somebody's arm off like that, but unlikely. But what I like about it, once all the soft tissue's gone, this is what our skulls look like. A little bit more sunken sockets, and you can actually see what it looks like is the brain still inside the skull. The only thing that we're missing is the suture lines. Our skull is put together by multiple suture lines where different pieces are put together, and they're actually kind of jagged lines all where everything's been fused. It actually takes many years, late childhood and even into teen years, to where everything actually fuses together and becomes one solid piece. Oh! You're just done. I like this character. It's one of my favorites. But that is awesome. I love the anatomy of this. Mortal Kombat 11, they've done an awesome job. When the body's being ripped apart, you're seeing the base of the spinal column and the vertebrae down there. So you have the maxilla and the mandible. The mandible's gone, or your jaw is not even, it's somewhere flying on the other side of the screen. Good anatomy, I like it. Yes! Whoa, burn right through. Super cool. If you split my own body in half or anybody's body in half, we don't typically match up pretty well. We are not made perfectly symmetrical, so it's pretty cool to actually see the body cut in half. What a cool move, right? Oh! Okay, let's just rip the intestines out. Okay, later face. Awesome. I love the fact that they're ripping out the skin, all the intestines, getting everything out of the way, so they're just able to pull onto the skeleton and rip it through. And if you look at the skeleton, it's pretty impressive and accurate. You got your ribs, your pelvis, all the bones, appropriate. I love it. I love it from an anatomy standpoint. What? That amount of blunt force trauma, right? You're gonna get bruising to the anterior abdominal wall, multiple layers of abdominal muscles. But the amount of force that just destroyed this character to where literally the organs are being shot out the back. And it looks like I'm even seeing a pair of lungs just flying through the air, attached together with just intestines underneath. Now, intestines, right? We got 20 feet of intestines, so there's a ton in there, and they smell horrible. So if you actually have somebody eviscerated open, you're just having fecal matter everywhere, and it smells horrible. Oh, goodbye. I love it. Look at it. You can even see the transection of the skull. Literally, that's what my neuroanatomy class was in med school. Basically, we were getting sections of brain sliced in multiple different directions so you can learn the anatomy at each different level. CAT scans, we see CAT scans, we get MRIs, all different images. Literally, that's what we're doing without injuring somebody. Basically, we're taking typically 5mm sections and slicing somebody in half to get images that are in 3D so we can kind of see what's going on inside the body. Pretty impressive. Oh, nasty. I love the intestines. Okay, sweet. The one piece of anatomy that are missing, which is okay, is something called the omentum, which is a fatty layer that's literally covering all the intestines just underneath your six-pack, basically. But to be able to get your hand up, popping up through the chest, missing the heart, and kind of making your own cavity, because the arm is too big, but basically going where your esophagus and then right next to where your bronchus is and your trachea, and going up in through the mouth and then ripping it out. Modern medicine, though, they actually can do face transplants. So good job, Mortal Kombat, for this one. Oh, we love the Joker. He's always happy. I love it. Oh, nice. Boom. Nice. I've never seen that move, but I can predict it just based on what Joker does, where you're having all that tissue going. You can't put it back together. Pretty cool. But then I like the idea, again, where an arm can go up, where it can destroy and just rip off the person's head. It's pretty impressive. It's funny. Not as cool as the other one. Sorry, Joker. But, yeah, again, good demise of an individual. Oh, perfect. Harley Quinn falling right up. Come on. All right, they must have had fun with this one. Okay. Miraculously, there's so much force that all these soft tissue and skin of the skull and face has just kind of melted away as well. But again, I love the anatomy, and I love that you can still see that the ribs are still attached to the vertebrae. That's why there's wings on the vertebrae. It's where they articulate with the ribs, and so there's movement there. So when people dislocate a rib, it's because it's not situated perfectly next to the vertebrae right there. Pretty impressive. It's really cool. Nice. Face off. Oh, skull off. What is that? No way. Oh, nobody likes brain that much. I guess some cultures do. I actually love the fact when he ripped the face off, the soft tissue, it still bounced and moved naturally. The anatomy is good. You got the different gyrae. And it's actually really cool that different parts of our brain do different things. And the most important parts for movements and sensories are actually kind of on the middle on both sides. And he's having a delicious bite out of it now. Whoa. Awesome. Oh my gosh. What is happening? So I love that the body was sliced open. What's even funnier, you see the eviscerated organs coming out, and then because of the amount of force of the air that is being sucked into the cyclone of bloody guts, disgusting tissue, and actually you can still see there's pieces of intestine flying around. I love it. Oh. Okay, that's not cool. What? The creativity of this video, peeling back the front half on that plane, you're still seeing the bony structures, but then you got the brain, you got lungs. Now, obviously, the heart just doesn't detach that easily from your aorta and all your other blood vessels, but super cool. Great job trying to keep the anatomy as accurate as possible, and even the lungs looked fantastic. Oh, we got Spawn. I love Spawn. He's kind of a messed up, scary character. He just ripped this person apart. Oh, of course. All the tissue is gone, destroyed, eaten, whatever he just used, and now you're just left with bony fragments. Kind of a side note, a little grotesque, but when somebody gets cremated, right, you're left with, it's hard to burn bones and destroy bones, right? When somebody's or is buried in the ground, the tissue decomposes, but the bones take a really long time. So that's why you're always seeing bones left around everywhere, because it takes a really long time for them to break down, which is pretty impressive when you think about our bodies as human beings. And it's good. Oh, nice. Okay, I like it. So a lot of things going on with this characters. I don't think it would stick to the wall like that, but you're still seeing pretty cool anatomy and a lot of blood everywhere. It's impressive. What was it? That heart was still beating. It is. Check it out. Good job. The heart, which has been destroyed, is actually still beating appropriately on the opposite side of that wall. I love it. Oh. All right, just a lot of ripped tissue like an animal bite. What is this? Destroy through all that tissue. And you're seeing some of the anatomy in the abdomen, but now there's a big hole there. Why not take advantage of it and just shove my gun straight up in there and explode the head off? Creative idea. But I do like that you're still seeing like guts flying out, as well as basically brain tissue just flying out of the top of the skull. Oh, jeez. Oh, I totally saw this coming. Oh my god, okay, I didn't need the extra skull fatality, but the fact is, you get smashed in, you have now a fulcrum to where the neck can snap back. So you can get whiplash injuries, but not like this, where the spinal cord is coming out. Typically, the tentacles, when we see it in real life, it actually is your nerves. They're white normally, but they actually just dangle. Even our spinal cord, at the bottom, it's actually called the equine, where it's like a horse's tail. So it's like long, basically hair. That's what the spinal cord looks like. It's pretty cool. Nice. Next shot. Oh, that's just messed up, RoboCop. No chance. I love it. All right, we only have one piece of intestine flying at the end of that, but probably a mortal wound to the neck, basically, because all the blood just flying out. But instead, we need to explode the body. There's not enough intestines in this one. They're probably just gone. The anatomy on the left side, you can't really tell if there's a spleen there or not, but you're still seeing the spinal column, which I love. And again, the anatomy of the intestines, it looks like there's fecal matter spilling, but it's the setting of blood. Rambo. Oh, Rambo's known for the traps. I love it. Nice. Question, could you actually do that in real life? I've actually seen it in another movie called Roadhouse back in the day with Patrick Swayze. If you can break through the tissue and through the skin and the muscle, could you wrap around and pull on it? Maybe, but this is pretty impressive. Now, the amount of length of stringy tissue on this one's a little off, but it's still showing that there's soft tissue there, which is pretty impressive. Nice. What? What? Oh my gosh, Terminator. Love it. Love it. I love the bony fragments. And they did such a good job because the ribs are skinny, but then the rib heads, obviously where they articulate with other bones, are a little bit more rounded and larger, just like any other bone in our body. So really impressive. And I like that she was crawling away with her legs severed from the previous injury. Nice job. What?
The uppercut, take two.
Do another take.
Cut! Who hired this guy? What the fuck?
Oh my gosh.
Take 19.
Oh! Awesome. So, fractured jaw. I've seen it so many times where somebody comes with a fractured jaw, but it's not totally separated, and they try to talk to me, and it's doing one of these things where it's like opening and closing. You can kind of see the teeth moving. Gnarly. But the one thing I will say, the tongue shouldn't be there. So the tongue is attached to the bottom piece onto the jaw or the mandible and into the back, into the throat, not to the top. But really cool fatality. What? That's just cheating. I'm getting a theme here. They don't like to use the 20 feet of intestines. So maybe there's not enough room on the screen. They have to be like 8 million degrees in temperature. They need to be the sharpest things on the planet. And you need to be one of the strongest people ever to be able to rip through the body to be able to continue to sever. You typically would having to do more sawing motions or hacking to be able to get it, but one clean swipe through, unlikely. We even have tools in the hospital during operations to remove limbs, and they're typically sawing motions. They're not just one big slice. Sometimes people walk around with their heads that low, but wow. So a compressive force down, it happens when people will say fall off a building and land on the top of their head. You're going to cause what's called vertebral compression fractures, where you're just squishing the bones and they explode out. And then obviously just ripping straight through her body. That sucks. Basically, you can see some of the anatomy coming through. Not such a happy camper. Look at her face on the bottom. Oh man, that's got to be painful. Not even that you're just getting impaled, but it's ripping with a rotary type force. That's just messed up. But it's super cool. Again, they did a good job about showing me the intestines. I'm a huge advocate of showing good anatomy, and they're doing a really good job. And hitting the side of the head wound, straight through the skull there, into the brain, messing with the major blood vessels. Yeah, really good. Oh, super cool. Nice. I like this one. This is probably my second favorite so far. Destroys the face, okay, and then decides to use the jaw as a fulcrum and just rip the front part of the body off. And it's like exposing the tissue, exposing the organs, and then splitting straight through the heart. And now you're seeing different chambers of the anatomy of the heart. And you're actually even seeing the muscles of the inside of the heart, which is super cool. Good job. This is not going to end well. Nice, good. Tongue not involved in this one. I like it. And I like the fact that when it's split open, you can actually see the teeth and the soft palate and the hard palate on the top. And you're actually seeing what's called the foramen magnum in the back, basically where your spinal cord is coming into the base of the skull. It's pretty impressive. That's what it looks like. And then question if you're seeing the cerebellum, which is the balance center of the brain in the back. So they did a good job. Nice. Nice. Oh, man. Oh, okay. The added twist. I like the creativity of this. But now you have a bony structure to be able to hold the body up. It would obviously slide down that most likely. The intestines probably wouldn't even drop that much because they're kind of all integrated by fat connecting it all. It's actually really cool. Your other organs, they're all kind of interconnected to each other. So more things would kind of be more stuck versus just pouring out. Are those blood vessels? What are those? That is super cool. There's no such thing in real life of vein blood being blue and arterial blood being red. They're both red, and the arterial blood is more brightly red because it's oxygenated, and venous blood, or blood in your veins, is more maroon or darker color, but there's no blue. It looks that way when we look at our arms, but that's just because of the skin and the different tissues that overlie it and what we perceive visually, but that's not what it's like in real life. Oh no. Oh, super cool. Good anatomy. I know I get really excited about anatomy. You got the appropriate ribs, but you got the sternum and the manubrium chilling right there. They're separate pieces of the breastplate and ripped right off. Super cool. And then obviously you got the brain chilling right there. The only time I've ever seen this in real life is when we have somebody who's had a penetrating trauma to the chest. They had pulses and we lost pulses, meaning they died, but they're right there in the hospital. We will do a thoracotomy. It's basically where cut open the chest, lift it up out of the way so you can get to the organs underneath. It is a last-ditch heroic effort that's very rare that it works, but it's the one thing we can do in those situations. The mandible just goes flying away. Your jaw goes flying away. Teeth intact. Nope, that's awesome, but no. I would think the amount of force that this individual is placing on the skull would cause a skull fracture, especially on the side. One thing I will say is all the vertebrae injuries, they're missing the sacrum. On the bottom, it just like clear-cut ends. It might be that it's still attached to the pelvis, but the sacrum is fused vertebrae together on the bottom, and it looks like a triangle that sits right into our pelvis. Nice. Yeah, you'd still be alive after that type of injury, but I do like, we're going to talk about the eyes in 1 second. I do like that the body's kind of still alive, and it still has that reason because the brain doesn't know yet that it's dead. It takes a little bit of time. It's pretty impressive.
I will always survive.
From an anatomy standpoint, you got 6 muscles of the eye. Super cool. And then you're getting a nerve going to the back of the eye, your optic nerve. You got top, bottom, side, and then rotary ability to kind of move all of these different muscles of your eyes. Super cool. Of course. Oh, nice. Out the abdomen. I love that now we're getting into the eye anatomy. That was I can't believe that's the hair that's destroying this character. Oh my gosh, even in real life, we see people's eye muscles sometimes are coming out, but more likely that we get something called eye entrapment, basically where a muscle gets trapped inside of a bone from trauma to the face, and then you just can't move your eye. And it's kind of an eye emergency and it needs to be fixed by a surgeon or an ophthalmologist. Nice. No chance. You don't have to get even close to the person. I like the attempt to block it and going straight through the hand. You know, the hand's got a ton of bones in there, but they're super small, not as strong as like your forearm or your femur or anything like that. Worst case scenario, basically you can just grab it, you're gonna lacerate your hand. Sever the head, our body still has a short period of functionality. It's more primal movements, it's not higher level thinking movements, reflexes like that. It is more just like muscle twitching and spontaneous kind of reflex movements, not purposeful movements that would be left. What the heck? That's just showing off now at that point. Never seen a wound like that walk through the door at the hospital or come by ambulance. It just doesn't happen when you have gaping holes like that. You can actually see the anatomy around it, what's left. Could be cauterizing it. Again, slicing the body in half. This one, the intestines are not flying out. Blood is good. It does splatter, but not like that. Is that... Oh, nice. I like the using the element. We got to discuss the legs in a second. Oh my gosh. Different burn, water force versus ice force, cold to the face that happens. So you can get burned from fire or you can get burned from something super cold, or even wind can cause it. Sunlight, all different reasons why your skin can burn. And then the on fire leg limbs, it almost looked weirdly like things that we would potentially eat. And at this point, this is basically horrible because it's burned through muscle and fat, which is like level 4 burns, which at that point it's like super hard to fix because how do you put skin back on that area? Because it's got nothing to bind to. What's really cool is surgeons sometimes can actually make pockets for you. So say you burn like a lot of tissue off your hand, they can literally make an incision and attach your hand to your body and let the skin kind of add nutrients to the tissue until you can harvest your own skin to put back onto it. Really cool and impressive, the things that we do. Awesome, I love those fatalities. My favorites, Sub-Zero and Nightwolf. Awesome anatomy, a little crazy, but it was pretty spot on. Loved it, I can't wait to do more. If you want to check out more videos like this one, head to Gameology on YouTube and Facebook. Also, check out my channel, Dr. ER, Dr. Jordan Wagner, on YouTube and Facebook, as well as Instagram, to see other types of React videos, as well as medical education. Let me make sure my anatomy's right. I'm gonna just Google 6 muscles of the eye, for sure. Yes, okay, I'm not crazy. Imagine I said that wrong. The fans would go nuts. Oh, good, yeah.